Welcome back to the ball, my horror-obsessed brothers and sisters. I'm your host, the Headbanger. I don't have to bring the sexy back because it never leaves me. Good to see all of you. I actually wasn't really expecting to do this episode before next month in case you missed the little teaser trailer. September, next month, will be a special month here on Horror's Ball dedicated to Italian horror. So we'll have shows all throughout the month, probably the most shows I've ever had within 1 month ever. So really excited for that. So I didn't really expect to do something before that. This is kind of impromptu. I guess something just compelled me to do this along with the help of Lucio Finci. So before we get to that though, I got a few films I actually watched last night, a stack of brand new horror. And it's really cool when, you know, the wife and I will get together on, on a Saturday night and have a stack of brand new horror to watch. And the cool thing is, there's 4 of these films. All 4 of them I at least really liked or loved. So let's get right to it very quickly here. I'll just run through these. And for the record, I recommend all of these films. First up was actually a film I didn't have very high expectations for, Crawl or Die. The original title of this film was actually Crawl, Bitch, Crawl, which is of course much cooler. But of course here in America they're going to have to change it to something, I guess, more, I don't know, whatever, more acceptable. But quickly, basically a virus is wiping out planet Earth, the population, and there aren't that many people left. Pretty much everyone but one woman is infected with this virus. And the plan is they found another planet to basically take over, and basically this woman, they call her the package. They don't refer to her as a name, they just refer to her throughout the whole movie as the package. Just like my nickname in high school. Just kidding. And she's the only one not infected with the virus, so that she's the lucky one then to get picked to basically pop out babies and help repopulate this new Earth, or I believe they call it Earth 2. So they get this group of soldiers, or whatever you want to call them. They don't really give a backstory on these people. Group of soldiers that it's their job to get the package, this woman, wherever they're going, whatever the final point is to start anew on this new planet. Of course, during this run, this mission, through a series of underground tunnels or whatnot, they encounter this awesome alien here, and that's the premise of the film. And this group is led by this badass chick played by Nicole Alonso. Quickly, this is a badass film. There's not a lot of dialogue in it. I know I've heard some complaints about the dialogue in the film. Honestly, I mean, the first quarter of the film, there's a little bit of dialogue throughout the soldiers, but after that, I mean, it's pretty much just crawling through, hence the title, crawling through these little tunnels and trying to avoid this alien. The audio, it's kind of strange that early on in the film when there is dialogue, my problem would be the audio is at times difficult to hear, to make out what they're saying. Not that it's really important what the dialogue is, but that would literally be my only knock on the film from a technical standpoint. It's just a joy to watch, and particularly the final act is just awesome. This film gets better as it goes along. How does the alien look? They don't show it a lot. I mean, trust me, they do show it, so it's not like one of those things where you don't get to see it. It's kind of hard to tell, and this is probably for the better. I think at some points they may have mixed in some CGI, but overall it looked really good, and particularly towards the end of the film, I know there's a scene where it looked like it was like a guy in a suit, and it looked really cool. So if there was CGI involved, it's not, guys know I hate CGI. It didn't ruin anything, and it overall looked really cool. Not a lot of gore in the film, but there's a couple of really cool gore scenes. One in particular where the alien's like, his arms, he has like these pokers, and he's like attacking this chick's feet, and it's like really just tearing her feet up, and the gore looks fantastic. It looks really cool. But I mean, this movie is all about her performance. She's called Tank in the film. Very maybe inspired by Tank Girl with that spiked hair. There's a point where she takes off her pants. I don't even remember why she did, but why would I question that? She's got these boots and her underwear, and she's crawling through these tunnels. You can only imagine there's some nice cinematography, if you know what I mean. But I mean, the great thing about this is it's so well shot through these tunnels, these tight areas, very claustrophobic as it says on here. But the funny thing is, just when you think the tunnels couldn't get any more tight, they get tighter and tighter and smaller and smaller. It's just unbelievable how this film is shot. It's low budget but very ambitious. And the cool thing is, this is going to be made into a trilogy, which I'm very excited for. Highly recommended. Get this film. Nicole Alonso, just awesome performance. and uber hot. Proxy, I'm so glad that IFC put out this reversible cover. The initial cover is really lame. The one that actually is sold with this on the front, much like the original cover, much better of that. A worthy successor to Rosemary's Baby, not quite, but a very cool film. Good vibe. Basically, a pregnant woman gets attacked. Someone kills her baby. She loses the baby, kind of starts to lose it. She meets a woman another woman, this woman here, at a support group. This woman's got her own issues going on. She has a son, and her husband, played by the always awesome and adorable Joe Swanberg. I'll just leave it at that. I think it's one of those films, the less you know, the better. And it's just, there's a lot of odd twists and turns. I love a film. I don't always have to have this be the situation, but I love a film where you have no idea what's coming next or where it's going. That's exactly what this film is like up to the very end. I didn't love the ending. I would have liked maybe more of a bigger payoff, but overall, recommended and a very, very interesting and fun watch. This film I absolutely loved. Another one by IFC Midnight, The Den. All my friends on Facebook and YouTube were giving this high praise as well, and I kind of put off getting it. Finally picked it up. Really awesome, cinema verite style, just kind of like internet. This girl gets a grant to do a project or a kind of, I don't want to call it a documentary, but just a film based on kind of like our internet culture. And there's this site called The Den, which is basically like one of those sites where you can talk to people all over the world, kind of like that roulette style. And she's trying to meet as many people across the world as possible, so she leaves this video on running all throughout her day and her life. And she ends up witnessing a murder on the camera. She doesn't know if it's real or not. Basically, slowly things start to affect her life, her friends, her loved ones, her boyfriend, by this killer or killers. Takes a little bit to get going, but once this movie gets going, man, it's creepy. It's incredibly well done. This lead chick is cute and very, very good performance. And love the killer with this mask here. Some genuinely creepy moments throughout the end of this film, and I love how it ended. Highly recommended. I'll honestly say one of my favorites of the year thus far. Lastly, we watched Borderlands, British horror film. Had it on my want list for a while, but our buddy Luke tried to, or Maya Seymour, he really pushed this, gave us a lot of high praise, and I definitely value his opinion as we have similar taste in horror films. So finally picked it up, eager to check it out, watched it last night. It's basically these Vatican-sanctioned paranormal investigators, I guess I'll call them. One of them is a deacon. They get sent to this old rural church who is said to have some, supernatural, paranormal things going on. It's their job to go there and see if that is properly the case. That's basically the premise. So it's cool having the religious angle to this. It is an FF. It's a found footage film. Those are always hit or miss, of course. This was really cool. Really creepy film. I didn't love it. I really liked it. But I will say, whether your filmmakers admit it or not, and regardless of your thoughts on, of course, the benchmark film, The Blair Witch Project, a film I love. You can't watch the end of this film and not draw comparisons to, and a big influence to Blair Witch. I'm not saying just because you make a found footage film that you had to have been influenced by Blair Witch, but the final act in this film is very Blair Witchy to me. I like the last year's found footage type film, The Conspiracy, a little more, particularly the ending. But overall, it's very creepy. There's some fantastic creepy moments, particularly one where this baby is crying. I love that whole angle. But really, what the film has going for the most to me is its location. The church is really awesome and creepy. It's this old church in the country. A lot of it's dark, and there's this underground caverns and tunnels under the church. And so I feel like if you took the location away from this film, there wouldn't be much left. But definitely worth picking up if you like creepy films, if you like some atmosphere. The first half really could have been trimmed down a bit on editing. But overall, a good film. I'll keep it in my collection. I recommend it. But I didn't love the ending. I would have liked maybe just a little something different with the ending. But 4 really good films. A couple of them I thought were great. This year is just quietly and methodically turning into yet another fantastic year in the horror genre. And should make the Golden Horn Awards in January very interesting. Stick around, check this out. Alright everyone, I need you to go to the store, buy a cheap notebook. Every film that I recommend in this segment that you have not yet seen or don't own, write it down in the notebook. And on the front cover of this notebook, I want you to write these 4 simple words.
Just fucking buy it, why wouldn't you?
Just fucking buy it!
Just...
Oh,
effing buy it.
Just fucking buy it.
Just fucking buy it. I mean, why wouldn't you buy it? Is this not a face you can trust? Just fucking buy it. Okay. Just fucking buy it.
Just fucking buy it.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Just Fucking Buy It.
Fucking buy it.
I am the headbanger with my cohort, Lucio Finchi. Welcome.
Good to see you all.
It's been a while, right?
Thank you. It's been
Just fucking buy
a
it.
little too long.
But we have recently been compelled, right, to bring this segment back, right? Resurrect it.
This needs to be put out.
Needs to be put out.
Because
this movie put out in a big way, right? First, what we do for our segments, you know the drill. We got some good beer, some tasty beer, and in saying that, before we say what this is, I want to give a couple shout outs. I haven't done a shout out in a while. And these are kind of like a little more unorthodox shout outs because the people right now I've never given shout outs to before, and they're not the biggest horror fans in the world, but they do frequent Horrors Ball quite often, so that's cool. Long overdue. Hopefully you're watching now. We call him Hefe.
Hefe.
Charles Hefe.
What's up, dude?
Thank you for supporting Horrors Ball. And a couple other ones too, a couple guys you know. We'll just say Dave and Steve. One of which they actually do watch here and there Horrors Ball.
Awesome.
And this particular beer goes out to Dave, who is in our band.
Yeah.
Dave, he's a guitarist, fellow guitarist. And for you, a fellow guitarist. I'm not a guitarist. But he loves this beer, and we recently went on an awesome beer trip.
This is my first time having it, man.
It is, so cheers to Dave and Steve.
Cheers
but
to you guys.
Dave, you love this beer, so White Raja, this is your first Raja. So cheers,
Breaking
Dave,
my
Hefe,
Raja
Steve.
cherry.
Cheers, man. Just fucking buy it. It's an IPA, by the way, by the Brew Kettle out of Cleveland. I think. You're not a big IPA fan, but what do you think?
I am not, but these are those ones that I like.
Is it delicious? Isn't it?
It's dude, it's really smooth.
Citrus.
Yeah.
It is smooth.
Dang.
Like you said, it's sweet. It kind of has a light.
It is. It's just
flavor
really
to
smooth,
it.
but
like, it's light and smooth, and it has that like.
the hoppiness. Yep, definitely. I think you gotta have
This
the good
is good.
stuff. Isn't it good? And we bought a couple of cases between the two of us. But anyway, we're not talking about beer here.
Yeah.
We're here for
It's
a
not why we're
fucking
here.
horror movie. Should I start with this? I might as well. I've never done this before, and to you, well, I won't say who it is because that'll give it away. You know, I'll probably put it in the title. Whatever. The director of this film. I've never done this before. I don't mean to, but hopefully you realize what a big fucking deal this is.
Yeah.
The Golden Horn Awards.
Pretty big deal.
You're probably looking at a couple of headbanging. We're not stoners. Well, he is. Like,
What
who
we're talking
cares?
about,
These
dude.
guys like my movie. But you know what? The Golden Horn Awards someday will be as big as the Oscars. And in case you don't know, the Golden Horn Awards, aka the Hornies,
How many years deep are we in?
we're 3 years in.
3 years deep.
So the next one will be the 4th annual. So it's the only horror award show that I know of, and it is basically the Oscars of the horror genre.
That's right.
So, director of this film, I hope you respect this. I'm sure you will, because you seem like a cool guy. I will say this right now, and I've never done this before. That your film is already up for. I've never done this before. You know that. This film is already up for Best Picture in the 2014 Golden Horn Awards, which airs in January of technically 2015. So,
Not.
right? I mean, it's,
Probably not more than just that. Probably.
no, I know. We'll get to that.
okay.
At the very
Oh,
least,
sorry.
one award,
But yeah.
which is the biggest award.
Yeah, but just to say, you made a big impression.
And we are in August right now.
Yeah.
So, like, I've never done this before. But anyway, I've talked about this movie a lot on Instagram, on Facebook, blah, blah, blah. But I've had some people request me doing a review of this film. Anyway, let's cut the fucking chit chat. Indie film this year, directed by Joe Stauffer. Sorry, man, if I Stauffer. Pieces of Talent. This is a film that I actually pre-ordered it for the record. My buddy Wooshi out of California, he was actually the first one that told me about it. I checked out the trailer, so thanks, Charles, to you. I call him Wooshi, Jason. I know too many Jasons. But I saw the trailer was awesome. So I pre-ordered this. I mean, this is like late 2014, 2013, early 2014. I mean, I can't remember exactly when. There was a lot of buzz. Took a long time for you guys to press it. Whatever. I know what that's like. Click the mouse. So I pre-ordered it, and it kept getting pushed back the release date, and I think I finally got this in May or something. So I was really anticipating it. This is Headbanger, who's here, by the way, off camera on her phone. We finally watched it, and okay, let's get to the plot first of all. An actress in the film as well, Christy Ray. God, I apologize. I forget her character name. What the hell was her name? Anyway, played by Christy Ray. She's an aspiring actress. The film starts off with her in a audition, which is kind of funny.
An awkward audition.
Yeah, because they compare her to I forget what actress. Anyway, they call her like Whoopi Goldberg. Blonde Whoopi Goldberg. So anyway, very funny. Starts off.
They were looking for.
Yeah, I forget who the actress they were looking for.
Titanic.
Oh, Kate Winslet.
Kate Winslet. There you go.
Yeah. Anyway, so funny opening scene. So she's an aspiring actress. She's got a bitch of a mother. I think they live in her house. Like her mom lives in her home.
She lives with her.
Yeah.
Charlotte.
Charlotte.
Yeah.
Thank you.
From Pack, Charlotte. So she lives with a bitch mom. She's struggling. She works at a strip club. She's like a bartender there. So just an aspiring, struggling actress. And the other point of view is this guy David Long, and he is an aspiring filmmaker. And basically, so to speak. So they get together one night. He has a rough time. He's trying to get some footage at the strip club that she works at. He ends up getting kicked out by the security guard. Starting pizzas up. She's going on a smoke break or something, and she sees him. That's how they meet one night. And being the kind of person she is, she ends up offering him a ride home that evening. That's basically the setup of the film.
Right.
So it's basically the interaction of this filmmaker who wants to get into indie films and this actress, and that's really the premise of the film. And from there, we see them develop a relationship. And that's basically the premise. It's clear. You see someone early on that David Long is a little more intense than he appears to be. He basically
he shows small signs, but they don't really go in.
Let's face it, he's set up as a serial killer, but he is also a filmmaker, and they develop a relationship, and that's the setup of your film. Now let's get to why it is on Just Fucking Buy It segment. Obviously, I want to say first too. I mean, I got the VHS. This is the pre-order. Awesome VHS clamshell. Yeah. Signed. Yeah, I'm sure these still come signed if you go on the website. Just type in Pieces of Talent on Google. Awesome bloody tape. So I mean...
# obey the tape.
Yes. Whether you're a fan of... exciting. If you're not in the VHS scene, you can get the awesome DVD, bonus features, awesome presentation, love the cover. Anyway, go on the website, support it. So why we like the film. First of all, the characters. It's I would call it character-driven film.
It's very character-driven.
Definitely,
yeah,
right?
Definitely.
The film looks fantastic. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure this is Joe's first feature-length film.
Yeah.
So from a technical aspect, the film looks fantastic. It's shot well. Legitimate cinematography, right?
Right.
There's a scene.
Yeah, the effects are great.
Yeah, I mean, from the technical aspect.
Yeah, the cinematography, like the beach scene and everything.
Oh, yeah. There's a scene early on when when she first gives him a ride home, and she's in her van, or his van actually, right?
It's his van.
And there's a shot, they shoot it from her driving it from behind. It's at night.
Yeah.
So you got like the street lights. I mean, we love cinematography. Right. I'm a Mara Bava nut. We appreciate scenes like that. I was watching it, showed it to my daughter, who's an aspiring filmmaker. She's 14. We were watching it. She noticed that scene. She was like, "That looks cool."
It's little things like that.
So I mean, this
kind of make this a step above.
This film is shot. Yeah, it's a low budget indie film, but it is shot incredibly well. It looks great. There's not a lot. You look at this cover. I think maybe this would like mislead some people to thinking it's like a gore fest. It's not, but the gore that is in it is really well
awesome.
done. There's I don't want to give it too much away. There's a shotgun head scene.
Oh,
we'll say that. There's a scene early in the film where the woman's got her leg missing. That looks fantastic.
Yeah.
So it's not a gory film, but the gore that is in it is fantastic. Fantastic. And pretty bloody film. I mean, there's a scene where he has the blood to down. That's what's cool about it too. That it's got that not going to go far as to call it an art house film because it's not.
But
But
there
it's
are
got
scenes like
yeah.
kind of in his psyche, like they
Right,
kind
when
of
he has
show.
a vision of this, basically this cover scene, where he has these like hot nude girls rubbing blood. He gets blood dumped over him,
And how hot is that?
and so it kind of has like it just has that kind of like, you know, indie, you know, the indie, cool, chic kind of like somewhat artsy feel to the
Yeah.
film, which is cool with the way the
But it seems
cinematography
very
is.
natural the way they did it.
It is.
Though.
It's not forced.
like-
I wouldn't
yeah.
call it an art house film. So if you're like turned off by art house films, which I'm not, but if you are, don't get me wrong, it's not an art house horror film. But
There's
yeah,
just a lot of elements of a lot of things in there. Like you said, it's not a gore film, but there are gore elements in there. It's not an art film, but there are art
right.
elements in
There's
there.
drama to it. That's a great thing to bring up. It is a
It's everywhere.
collaboration
There's
of a lot of
drama.
subgenres,
There's
right.
comedy.
That's the thing that surprised really me the most too, especially after seeing the trailer. And this isn't a knock. Is how humorous this film was, and that's what's great about it, is the balance of drama, you know, if you want to say art house, humor, love story, and we'll get to the rest because we gotta, hug. We'll be right back.
No one goes.
All right, we're back. Cheers. White Raza, you dig it?
Dude, I'm loving this. This is one of my favorite IPAs I think I've ever had.
Awesome. Dave
really
will
good.
appreciate that. So yeah, back to Pieces of Talent. I think so their relationship progresses. That's what it shows, and it kind of shows as they get closer. They get closer, but it's what's kind of cool is they kind of bounce back and forth of like showing. I apologize that we don't remember Christy Ray's character name, but
Charlotte.
Charlotte, that's right. Her relationship with her mother, how her mother's a dick.
Yeah.
So that kind of
So that's kind of breaking apart as it
right.
goes
They kind of
along.
show that, and then they also show David as a filmmaker. And kind of like he's kind of crazy too, not just on the serial killer aspect, but there's a scene where he basically interrupts this film set, and there's like this star
It's like a
actor,
CSI type
yeah, like
show
a
or
CSI
something.
show, really
Oh my
funny.
God,
And the
it's so
humor
good.
is just what was the most surprising thing, and not humor to the point where you're like, because I'm not the biggest horror comedy fan. Like there's some good ones, but I guess I want to prefer comedy in my horror
When it's done right.
when it's done
good.
right. But the balance, the way they balance the humor,
It really was,
almost
like-
to the point where you could call it black comedy. I hate to call it that because that suggests that there's not enough serious. But you know what I mean? You could consider it that.
Yeah, that's like we were saying though. I think that's what's great about this film.
The
That's-
balance.
yeah,
Balance.
there's so many elements everywhere, like we said,
And they just pull it off.
everything
They
just
pull it off.
is
It's
so
not
smooth.
easy to do, right?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of movies could fail trying to do what they did. But anyway, he's on a set. And he basically kidnaps this actor. But before that,
He's an asshole actor.
he's like this cliched, stereotypical like douchebag, Tom Cruise-y type actor. But the funny thing is, he goes to this actor's house, this mansion, and he's
oh
like
my God, the swimming pool.
he's swimming.
scene. Oh
David
my
Long, the
God.
director, is swimming in this guy's
Amazing.
pool, and it's just a really funny scene. Anyway,
Hilarious.
I want to get to what really ultimately what makes this film work. Besides the fact that we've talked about how the balance of all these like subgenres and different angles is, there's two things the most. It's the chemistry between David Long and Christy Ray,
Right.
correct? Between David Long and Charlotte character. I mean, they have some really good chemistry, right? Am I right? Like
Definitely.
from their first scene together.
The first scene in the
van.
in the van together while they're talking at the beach and everything like that, and
in the van while it's like she picks
while they're talking at the tree, everything
Yeah,
like,
the
later,
chemistry
later on,
is-
like yeah. I
when
think
that first scene where he's laying, he's like he got beat up, so he's like laying there. She goes to a gas station, buys him a blanket at this gas station.
Yeah.
Another funny scene. The guy at the register. She buys him a blanket. She buys him a coffee, and just so he kind of like wakes up in this like, I've been beaten slumber, and
Yeah.
she's sitting there. She's
she's
adorable.
basically nursing him back to health
Yeah,
essentially.
he offers her
She
weed,
roll-
or she's rolling.
Oh,
a
she
joint.
does, yeah.
She offers him.
She rolls a
So
joint.
like right from that first scene, you immediately you buy the chemistry
Yeah.
between them.
It's like you can tell, like how, when they made the film, you could tell that they were all like
On the same.
they were all on the same page. They were, you can probably tell that they're all friends. and
You almost
everything,
get the
and
sense
they were
that
just really in it.
Some of the
for-
scenes might have been improv, and that's a
I'm
compliment.
sure
you know what I mean?
there
Because
was,
the
yeah.
dialogue seemed that.
Yeah.
There's a part where like we laugh. David Long screws up the line, but it comes across as like
we think.
yeah.
I
I
would
mean maybe
imagine
not.
so,
Maybe, I
like-
mean Joe, if you wrote it that way, that's even more brilliant.
Yeah.
But some of the dialogue just seemed. I guess it's so
Are you talking about
natural.
The van one.
Yeah, the van. He
Yeah,
like
when he
slips
sa-
up
he
his
says,
line.
Like, do you?
Because
Did I
she
scare
said
you
she
or
said something about
something?
"Do I scare you?" and he was like, "No," and he was
do
like,
you,
"Do you
do
scare?
I scare you?
Do I
Do I
scare
scare you?"
He like catches
Oh my
himself.
god, we
It's
fucking
so
died
good.
when
Yeah,
that
that's
happened.
great.
Oh my god.
So good.
But so that to get back to our point, we're gonna get sidetracked. When we love
Just
a
little
film,
subtle shit
we
like
get
that.
passionate and we get sidetracked, and we're like buzzed. We're like 10 beers in. No. So like the chemistry between the two characters, which just doesn't happen all the time. But when a character-driven movie, you need that, right? The second thing is how likable the two characters are. And
Definitely.
I've talked to my daughter, who's, in case you don't know when you're watching this, she's 14 years old. She just made her first movie, Zombie Kids. She's an aspiring, not just filmmaker, she wants to make horror movies. And we talk about this all the time. I tell her, you know, the more likable characters you have, the better the film's going to be. If the viewer cares about, you know, what's going on, it doesn't need to be like that in all films, but especially if it's a character-driven film,
Yeah.
you want to like the characters, and this is what makes
Absolutely.
this film so
That's
fantastic.
where a lot of people go wrong.
Fail,
they
right.
they just throw some
Especially
you know,
like in
cliche
slasher,
characters
right.
in there or whatever.
Here's the thing, Christy Ray and David Long, who, you know, it's their film basically. Not only do they have great chemistry, but you just really like both of them. And here's what makes it great: is that David Long is the killer, and it shows that early. He's a serial killer, and
Yeah.
let's say it right now. I said it after me and my wife saw it for the first time. We said it after you did. He is the most likable. And we typically like the serial killers anyway, right? We're horror
Yeah,
fans.
you're always rooting
I mean,
for
we're
the
horror
bad
fans.
guy.
Michael Myers,
But-
like yeah.
David is on this
For a guy
whole
without a
other
mask,
level.
we fucking David.
Like, not to be creepy as fuck or anything.
We're
but
heterosexual men, and we'll get to that.
We're both married heterosexual men, but honestly, I
say it,
am in love with.
Tell him he's
we're-
watching this.
We're in love with you, David. You're like, oh my god, you're
He's
like
the most
best character,
likable. He's the
most likable, charming, like funny.
Of course, Christy Ray. Like, of course,
Twisted.
Charlotte liked you. Yeah. He has
No,
this smile.
he
Let's
has
bring it up right
everything.
now. The smile.
The smile.
The hashtag. That smile dough is what I
Yeah.
Instagram
We're
that
trying-
night.
we're trying
He
to
has this
start
smile
the trend
that I
of-
wish I could have with my space and my
That
teeth.
smile. Just
Like, no wonder she fell head over heels for him. So that's the thing. He's got this charisma, this screen presence, and let's not. I'm going to make it all Dave Long Love Let's show that we are actually heterosexual.
okay.
To you, Christy Ray, you're probably not watching because you're way too attractive to watch us. She is sexy. She's a really good actress in this
Yeah.
film. I mean, she carries, and even like as the film goes on, excuse me, it's one of those films too. Like, just as the film progresses, the two actors you just get more into the role.
As things get more twisted, they get
As they get more
into
close,
the
too.
like. Yeah, as they're getting closer, the relationships
Like
get
she's
twisted.
a fan.
Things,
She's a great actress. That's the thing. You buy the relationship, and for the record, she is sexy as
you
hell.
are very.
Yeah.
That's right.
We have an award on the Golden Horn where it's called the Hottest Babe Award, and no question about it, Christy Ray will be up for it.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you're very proud of that, but she's not watching anyway.
I'm sure you're all very proud of what's happening here.
Well, that's the thing, like the chemistry between them and the fact that they are so likable. And the thing with a serial killer, obviously, horror fans generally we gravitate towards a serial killer, obviously. But the fact that he's not a mask killer and he's just a filmmaker who's twisted, obsessed. He's trying to make this realistic. You know, that's kind of his thing. This almost basically snuff films,
Yeah.
but in an artsy way. He even says that. But he's just so likable. And that's what really works about the film. You like both characters. You know it's not going to end good. We don't want to give away the ending, but you know where it's
But
heading.
they did the ending.
Oh, they
we'll
did.
Say
We'll get to that. We'll get to
Okay.
that. We don't want to give anything away, but yeah, you know where it's going. You know this isn't going to work,
Yeah.
but it works. You know what I mean? And you just to watch a film like this where you're laughing, you're also seeing the drama of it. You're seeing good gore. You're seeing good cinematography.
You're in love with the characters.
And you just love those two lead characters. And the fact that it culminates with the two of them. We're not going to give anything away, but the end of the film, of course, is the whole time David tells Charlotte, you know, I have this role for you, and she, of course, is intrigued. She actually quits her job at the strip club, you know, so she's very excited.
Yeah.
The viewer's excited, and we know what his film
we
is.
know what's coming, but she
Right,
doesn't.
that's what's cool too. You know what's coming. No, there's no twist or bullshit twist. You know where it's going, but they handle it really well at the end, right?
Yeah.
We're not going to give it away, but it's done. The final act is done very well, really cool. I don't know how to compare it. This thing too is like a lot of the, particularly the final act is shot at night, and it looks really good, right?
Yeah, it looks great.
You know, there's no problems with like, yeah, it's dark, but from a technical standpoint, it's done really well.
Yeah, we can't give a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we don't want to give everything away, but nonetheless, there's
But
soundtrack
yeah,
too.
Like along with as we've been saying the whole time about how they're adding all these things and you know how they're making everything work so perfectly, and then you're like the ending is always
We worry.
you know
We talk about it a lot. Like we're big on endings,
yeah like endings are extremely important obviously because
To us.
that can make or break a movie
no question.
and
They handle it well.
like you said like you guys nailed it.
Nailed the
Like-
ending. I was worried. I always get worried. I get paranoid. I'm a paranoid viewer. Be in love of horror
Like
so
you
much.
you feel satisfied after watching
Exactly. It's the exact proper way to
it.
put
Like
it.
you're like the film just perfectly wraps itself
It does. So score. It sounds like they did. Almost has some of the scores like the local band vibe to it, which isn't the best, but I understand that from a copyright perspective, all that stuff. But some of the score too is like really good. There's some like more like synthy classical side to it too, like
Yeah.
subtle stuff. But so the score is good. But I want to say before we wrap up here, we've rambled enough. Obviously, Just Fucking Buy It. Please go support this.
Yeah,
We've
please-
already said it's
please
going to be
support
up for
this.
Golden Horn Award. That will mean nothing to them, but it means a lot to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big deal. To sum it up, I think this is I think some people made this like because maybe they don't like the combination of humor, drama, gore, and especially with that cover, you might expect it to be kind of like a nasty, grimy, snuffy film. But anyway, it's not like that. But it's just across the board.
But you
solid.
have to look past any perceptions you might have about it. If
Just
you have
watch
any
it.
reservations or anything like that, look past all that and just watch
And
it.
to sum it up, I think this is really this film is meant for, like us, diehard horror fans.
Yeah.
This isn't going to be the
Absolutely.
casual horror fan.
You can tell they
There's
put
passion,
a lot of
yeah.
love in there.
So
and-
guys, please check out Just Fucking Buy It. Pieces of talent, one of the best of 2014. Thanks for checking it out. David Long, we plan on meeting you in
Yeah.
Syracuse
Yeah, Syracuse.
next month. Cheers,
Hope to
everybody.
meet you guys.
Pieces of talent, Just Fucking Buy It. We're out. Cheers. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed that episode, bringing back the Just Fucking Buy It segment. Again, check out Pieces of Talent, of course. These 4 films that we watched last night: Proxy, Borderlands, the awesome The Den, and the badass Crawl or Die. There's still people out there I hear say, you know, there's no good horror movies anymore. Obviously, you do not watch any if you really feel that way. Or you should at least start watching Horror's Ball so I can tell you what to watch. As always, guys, thanks so much for watching. You stay scared, and I hope to see you in a couple weeks in September as fall begins and we have Italian Horror Month. Later, guys. I'm out. Thanks for watching.